now listening to the Gabba Gabba Hunt Talks podcast, where we bring you conversations with people connected to the Carolinas underground music scene.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just got a shitty signal, man. I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You in the outside?
I'm inside right now.
Oh, okay.
I could go outside if it gets bad. It could help.
Yeah, they got critters out there.
Man, I almost pissed on a skunk one night. Seriously, I was taking a piss and I felt like some movement near me or whatever, and I looked down and it was a skunk. It was dark, but it was just like enough I could see what it was. I was about to piss on. I was like, oh my God, I'm scared. I didn't move. I just kept pissing. I mean, I hadn't been sprayed yet. And it didn't.
He knew you were a kindred spirit.
He's like, hey, you're out here stinking up the place too? Hell yeah, brother.
So it's going to be weird, like, if I'm talking and I go, I guess I'm going to have to say John Bridges or Jon Bowman, because I can't even say John B.
Oh, I know. This has been a challenge. I'm in a silly mood, man. I've been looking forward to this all week, you know,
Yeah.
where I've kind of like pre-partied like it's a show or something. I'm gonna get up and play. You know, I mean, it's the best substitution I've got since we can't do this. I've missed 2 shows now
Yeah.
because we can't have shows.
We've only missed 1 so far, and then we missed 2. We would have played this past Saturday. I forgot about that at Cavendish in Gastonia.
Our last one we didn't play. I didn't realize it was that day until somebody mentioned it on Facebook.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the Cavendish one, honestly, because it kind of got booked last minute, like right before all this happened, and Ben booked it, and Ben never booked shows, so it wasn't one I booked, so it passed last week, and I didn't even think about it. But we've got May 30th at Tommy's. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, we got a May 30 show. I'm not expecting it to go down.
Yeah. So, John Bridges, how are you doing out there in Wilmington?
Man, we're doing pretty good. Street Clones have had a few canceled shows, of course. That comes with the whole situation. Right now, the next show on the horizon that is most likely canceled was our Murder Junkies They Hate Us show.
Damn, yeah.
It's a Wednesday night. I talked to PP Duvet on Facebook the other day, and probably the Murder Junkies tour is going to be postponed till the fall.
Yeah.
However, the Mystery School Records They Hate Us CD release is going to continue as scheduled. Mm-hmm. Which means that in about 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have the new They Hate Us album on CD available. So, you know.
Hell yeah. And hopefully,
rock and roll goes on.
Like you said, that's tour's postponed. So, you know, hopefully you'll get to play, you know, in the fall or next year, whenever this happens, whenever stuff can happen again.
Yeah. Whenever
that is. I keep hoping, like, you know, I talk to some people and we talk about maybe in June, and I'm like, yeah, I keep hoping so, but I just don't know. I think if a lot of people around here had their way, we'd be going to a show tonight.
Right. I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be either. That's one thing. I'm like, you know, I'm not ready for them to reopen stuff, because even if they do, people aren't going to have the confidence to go out. There'll be a few people.
Yeah, man, it's too early.
Yeah.
Our next show is booked in August.
Yeah.
With Keep On Cowboys. They're supposed to come down from Virginia and play with us at the Opera Room in downtown Wilmington. It's a venue we've never played before. They don't do a lot of shows. Saturday matinee.
Sweet.
Very old school Wilmington punk rock.
You'll have to remind me of that show. That might be something I could make a day trip and do that.
Hopefully it happens, and if it does, it's going to be a good one. Yeah. We saw Zodiac Panthers there, and Good Grief a couple of months ago, and it was awesome.
Yeah. I like Good Grief. I just recently found them online and started listening to them.
Yeah. Good dudes.
And one thing I want to ask you about in a little bit is the Wilmington scene, because I don't know a whole lot about it.
Me either.
Well, you probably know a little bit more about it than I do. From what I gather, there's not a huge punk rock scene in Wilmington.
There's not a huge punk rock scene, but there's bands, and, you know, everybody's doing their thing. I think more than there not being bands, there's not a lot of venues.
Yeah.
Reggie's 42nd Street Tavern is kind of like the go-to spot. And they've upped their game. They have a big stage. They have a bigger sound system. They raised the drop ceiling. Like suddenly it's like a venue, whereas before it was like a bar that you could also play shows at.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had amazing shows there. I saw a lot of intensely cool shows in kind of a less than ideal situation.
Oh, yeah.
And sort of big bands too. So, they've been doing it for a long time, but now they have the setup. There are not a lot of other bars in town right now doing shows. A lot of places have closed or stopped doing shows for one reason or another.
Yeah. Yeah, Reggie's is one of those bars. It's been around for, I've never been there, but I remember it from, 25 years ago. I think they've been at least that long.
Well, the real estate business has interfered pretty heavily with downtown bar leases. And you don't really get punk rock bars in places that want to make condos for rich people.
Yeah, that's happening in Charlotte too, except for, these venues already exist and now they're building condos around them. Some of the venues survive and figure out a way to adapt. I think Snug Harbor's kind of figured that out. But then other venues just go to the wayside or have to be relocated because they're in the way.
Yeah.
But I think that's a common. It's not Charlotte. It's not Wilmington. That's an everywhere thing, from my understanding.
Sure.
Except for Gastonia. Well, actually, no. It's getting ready to happen in Gastonia too. They're building a baseball stadium downtown. So, I don't know. It's going to be a little touch and go down there. I think as far as what's acceptable and what survives.
Man, John, you remember when we went to?
Yes, no. This is the only weird thing about using like Zoom is everybody starts talking over each other and then everybody stops talking.
John, that's the thing I forgot to tell you. I think it works like a walkie-talkie.
Oh yeah, you gotta say over, over.
Yeah, don't say over, but that's how it works.
Raise your hand to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we talked about using this to practice, and I'm like, there's no way. There's just too much. There's just a slight delay, but it's just enough of one.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work at all.
No.
Man, John, I was going to ask you if you remember the time we went to Reggie's before that game upping that you mentioned, and we saw that band Mountain Thrower.
Yes.
That's a pretty choice show, wasn't it?
Excellent band. Choice show is a great way to describe it.
Mountain Thrower. Where are they from?
Mountain Thrower is one of those bands that was frustrating in that they were really good and they didn't play very often. And so if you missed the Mountain Thrower show, you were pissed.
Yeah. Were they from around here or were they a touring band?
They were here. There was a Wilmington band.
Okay.
Dudes from other bands you've probably heard of and seen. And very excellent band.
Hey, well, Mike, I was going to put you on the spot, man. I was just going to ask what your first impression of Mystery School was. That'd be interesting for me to hear.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot because I got to think of now I got to think of something to say.
Now so you have to say nice things.
I wasn't really aware of Mystery School until I met you, and that was that time we played. Did we all three play together at Keg and Q?
We did.
I think it was
maybe
the first time we played together. It was Van Huskins, War Boys, Street Clones, and was it Boron Heist at that one? Or no, it was.
I think it was just the three of us.
It was Drat the Luck also, wasn't it?
It was Drat the Luck also.
Yeah, Drat the Luck. That's right. So I wasn't really aware of Mystery School until then. And then, just meeting you guys and hearing War Boys and hearing Street Clones and then being introduced to Mystery School that way and then finding out that you guys worked with Anti-Scene, putting out their CDs. But when I found out what it was all about and just, realized, the kind of music you were putting out, I thought that was cool as hell. Because there's not a whole lot of, or I'm not aware of, a whole lot of local labels. It seems like everybody just releases their own stuff these days. But, like Jettison Records back in the day, when I saw Jettison Records, I would pick up a 7-inch because I knew they put good bands on that. And it wasn't always the same kind of bands. It was always just good bands and interesting bands. And that's like, when I found out what Mystery School was, that's like, hell yeah, this is like the old days. This is an actual label that represents North Carolina and then beyond, but doesn't necessarily put like the prettiest bands out, you know.
Yeah, we kind of like think of it as like outsiders and weirdos in a way. You know what I mean? Like stuff that's really good but would be overlooked by other people that want to give it the attention it deserves. You know?
Well, and that's how I feel about the Charlotte music scene as a whole. Well, you know, for the most part, is that none of these bands are, I say prettiest bands. They're not, on paper, they don't look like bands that people would be into, but everybody's so good. And that's, so it doesn't have to be pretty. Rock and roll is supposed to be ugly anyway, right?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just I don't know. I just say put the music first. You know what I mean?
Well, and, if you're pretty, you can be on Mystery School Records, but
well, of course, I'm on Mystery School now, so
I'm primarily interested. I'm primarily interested in ugly people and ugly bands. You can make pretty music or ugly music or whatever kind of music. And really, as long as you're passionate about it, I think the whole Mystery School thing is kind of trying to get to the heart of a sort of genuine approach.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you're doing, then we're about it.
Yeah, and that's why I love that, because again, pretty, ugly, whatever. That's just a term I decided to use a minute ago. It is about like being real and you know, not necessarily accepted by the mainstream, which is what I've always been a fan of, things that aren't accepted by the mainstream. So when I say pretty, I say, you know, again, it looks good on paper, not going to put up big numbers, but there's a lot of passion there and it's all real.
Exactly.
You know, there's some record labels that would be like, I'm only going to put you out because you've got, you know, 3,000 followers on Facebook or whatever. Mystery School doesn't strike me as that kind of label.
Well, we don't have 3,000 followers on Facebook, but you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, please do. Please.
Speaking of the internet, the Mystery School Records.bigcartel.com store, which was briefly out of service, is now in service.
Yeah.
So you can. You can buy Van Huskins CDs from us again.
Good, because I don't think I have any more. Actually, I think Ben and Eric probably have a couple of extras sitting around. I've still got one listed on our Bandcamp site. So if we happen to sell it, I've got to get it from Ben or Eric, or sell my copy.
It's made things so easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a shot, and honestly, I have a few things coming up. I don't want to screw up by not being able to sell them.
Yeah.
In an immediate sense, there's the They Hate Us CD. There's a couple of surprise releases Horizon. Mm-hmm. By Horizon, that's, you know, within the next 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Or 8 or 12, depending. But something really cool I'm excited about that's maybe coming out soonish.
John Bridges, Jon Bowman's kind of already told sort of your origin story, I guess, on his episode of the podcast. Told how you got started playing in bands. But from your point of view, what was it that made you decide, you know, you wanted to be in a band? Or, you know, did you think about it from when you were younger and just never did it till you were older? I mean, until you met John? Or was it something that just happened then?
Here's the most important fact about my musical origin story. I do not have musical talent. I cannot play music.
Yeah.
I'm a failed musician. I have owned guitars in some form or fashion since I was 15 years old, and I've never really learned to play them.
Yeah.
Or cared to. I'm not a good singer. My timing is questionable. But I've always been able to find awesome musicians that would allow me to express a certain sort of demented side of myself with them.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like, the extent of wanting to be a rock star was like playing tennis rackets along to Deep Purple.
Okay. We've all done it.
Yeah. Man. That's still what I do because I can't actually do that.
Yeah.
Really what happened was that Jon Bowman's cousin, Josh Philbeck, a.k.a. Squash,
Mm-hmm.
turned me on.
AKA Death Metal Cousin.
Death Metal Cousin turned me on to the death metal band from Cleveland, Ohio called Nunslaughter.
Okay.
And I loved Nunslaughter so much, it inspired me to like write silly sort of like death metal type songs. And then I saw Anti-Scene live in February of 2008, right before John joined, the story that he told on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I had met Jeff before. I knew Joe from the record store.
Yeah.
Seeing them play, and I had the albums. I was already a fan. I had quite a few Anti-Scene albums.
Mm.
But then seeing them live, I was just like, oh my God, I could do this.
Yeah.
And I had already written these songs that were going to be like satanic thrash metal songs. And I was like, oh, well, let me just start a band because it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's almost always a lot of fun.
Yep.
And the most terrible thing you could ever do.
And Anti-Scene was very important to me too, because when we first started our first band, we kind of did it as not really a joke. We wanted to do it for real, but it was like, let's start a punk rock band. But Anti-Scene was, when we saw them and met them, it was like, oh, this can be real. We can really do this. We can play a show in Charlotte. We can, we started writing songs, but it was just the fire was lit under us because, these guys didn't look that much different than we did. And, they had Southern accents like we did, and they played punk rock and people liked what they did. Was Rapegoat, I guess, the first thing you did?
Yeah. Okay. Well, and when I say I saw Anti-Scene and I started a band, I mean literally the next day.
Yeah.
I contacted John's cousin and I was like, "Hey man, you have a bass. Do you play bass? Do you want to start a band?"
Yeah.
And do you know a guitar player? And he introduced me to Matt Jones, and we became great friends. And he was our guitar player.
Yeah.
Squash played bass with us for a little bit, and it didn't work out for him. And so we got another dude, and bass players were our the constant thorn in the side situation.
Yeah.
Just because there's not that many, especially in Shelby, North Carolina.
Out in Cleveland County.
Mooresboro.
Yeah.
Down there by the creek.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally like I saw them and I was like, holy shit, I'm starting a band. Like, we're doing this. And so that was 2008. And it took us a while to get it all together. We got it together. CJ joined me play guitar. When I revisit those albums, I'm like, damn, I can't actually believe we really even did that.
Yeah.
Because I think they're kind of cool.
They're great albums.
I enjoy them a lot.
Yeah. So you're not a musician, but did you have any hand in like the way the music of the songs came out, or did you just let them write the music and you put your words to it?
A little bit, but playing with Matt's a great guitar player. He was a great songwriter. He didn't really know how to play guitar.
Yeah.
He just played guitar. He said he didn't know notes and chords, like he didn't know what the things were. He just played the guitar and played what sounded cool to him.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to us. So that's kind of how it happened. And with Street Clones, Wes Holder, guitar man, we write songs together. I might have a request about maybe like the arrangement a little bit, but I don't music direct because that's not my department.
Yeah. I've always wondered, like, when someone has a sort of a vision, or here I've written all these lyrics and I'll start a band, how much of a hand they play in how the music evolves, because I feel like a singer does have a little bit of a hand in it in one way or another, but I've never really experienced it from that end, so I was curious.
Well, when I write a song, a lot of times there's going to be music first, and then I'll try to write lyrics to the music. But if I have an idea and I'm in like a mood to write a song and I want to write lyrics, because that's kind of the only thing I think I'm pretty good at.
Yeah.
I'll say like, all right, I got this feeling. A song that Matt Jones and I wrote with Rapegoat. I was like, all right, this song, I want it to feel like you're standing on the hood of a car that's going like 80 miles an hour, you know, and then he plays something, and then I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's talk about a feeling or whatever, and we'll say what it is, but like, I'm not trying to suggest, I don't write songs in my head and then try to sing them like Captain Beefheart.
Yeah.
The devil is you, the devil is me. I don't believe in the devil, but still his face I see my blood is hot, my skin turning red. Horns of the devil on my head. There's no salvation, no saving grace relation. Morgan now and no will, man cannot be saved. Arson is our own, no hope we can atone. Everyone will burn in hell, man cannot be saved. Evil is in us, nothing to discuss. Eternal life they try to sell, man cannot be saved. Don't you know there is no heaven, hell is there on earth? Don't you know the blood of Christ is soaked into the dust? With dreams of eternity in a deluded mind, with light of life extinguished, death is all you'll find. Rotting in your grave. The devil is you, the devil is me. I don't believe in the devil, but still his face I see my love is hot. Let's get turning red. Horns of the devil on my head.
You are originally from North Carolina.
Absolutely. Born in Washington, Little Washington.
How did you get into music that was outside of what the mainstream stuff was?
Well, I got a Chuck Berry album from my grandmother from her garage, and that was certainly like laid the groundwork, I think, for like being able to digest the Ramones when I eventually found them as a teenager, which scared me, to be honest. I wasn't like, oh my God, the Ramones, they're great. I was like, wow, this is something. As a prog rock fan, I was kind of like, you know, all about Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Yes.
Okay.
I still like those things, the Moody Blues.
Yeah.
The Ramones wasn't that, and it was sort of terrifying. But like Chuck Berry, I think, primed me for Johnny Ramone.
Yeah.
And then as far as like true, like bizarre outsider music, the first thing I can remember crossing over, maybe hearing the Cramps, which I also was kind of like, I don't know, guys, this is sort of weird. And then I remember hearing the Residents, which the Residents album Fingerprints was the first like truly out there, like obscure underground weird shit that I heard from my friend Scott's CD, and it kind of scared the shit out of us both. And then ever since, it's almost been a bar. Like nobody can you can't be the Residents.
Yeah.
But I really want to hear music that kind of makes me uncomfortable and scares the shit out of me.
I get that.
Or at least is intended to create an emotional response, not just a sort of benign enjoyment.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of a lot of bands like that. And
Absolutely.
And that's a big reason why I think punk rock grabbed a hold of me, was because of bands like that. Because it made you not just listen to the music, but it confronted you. The music confronted you and made you think about things and made you a little bit uncomfortable. And it was the music and the lyrics, it was the whole package. But if it put you a little bit on edge, there was always something special about something that put you on edge.
Yeah, punk rock, love it or leave it.
Yeah.
Pew pew.
Man, John, I think I've told Mike before that I think the label's forever better. And this happened, I want everybody to know, this happened pretty early on at this point, if you consider the whole history of the label. I kind of backed off.
Oh, shit. Crap.
Hey,
All right. All right, so we got 40 minutes.
All right. Let's get down to business.
And then I'll try to remember to pay attention next time, but I forgot. It'll happen again. I know it will.
Oh, it's okay, man. But what I was going to do, I was going to start a little storytelling, or at least making a statement that might lead into some. But fairly early on in the label's history, I backed off on involvement.
Yeah.
For several reasons, but one big one was just I didn't have money to pitch into it because I was finishing school and stuff and had a kid already. But when I kind of backed off on involvement, the result was that Mystery School got a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of working some old established channels of mine to pull in some bands and stuff for the label in a way, and it was good stuff, but it was all kind of right up the same vein. And when I backed off, that left a little more room for John just going nuts doing what he wanted, and the result has been way better than if I had been able to stay more involved. And I've still done a lot of stuff along the way to help. Mostly John took over, and it's been forever better since.
Yeah.
It's really more of an amorphous blob. It kind of directs itself. It's not something that I do or that John does or anything else. It just kind of is a thing that happens. And some things stick and some things don't. But like the list of things I want to do is huge.
Yeah.
The list of things I'm trying to do is pretty big.
Yeah.
We've got almost 50 releases, and so many of them happen nearly by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of the best ones almost just happened by accident. They just sort of fell into our lap. Someone was like, hey, I've got this record I'm trying to put out, and I'm into what you guys are doing. Like, let's do this. And we're like, okay. You mean all the hard part is finished? Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of times when we get up by people and we have to tell them, this is kind of like a collective thing of sorts, Don't expect that we'll put in a release by you and you're going to be the big shit tomorrow. You know what I mean? It really is kind of a thing with a certain audience. And the bands are as involved in the release as the label. But it's been fun. Man, when I was talking about that international anti-scene family kind of thing, that's bled over into this as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really a vehicle for enjoying friendships in a way too. I've never put it that way, but I think about it that way sometimes for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, I just want to point out here that Jon Bowman, you sound like a robot, so I don't trust you as much anymore. But I guess you got some bandwidth issues, but I could understand most of that, so I could probably leave it in.
Man, it sucks. I love living out here, but this whole connection issue is terrible.
Yeah.
Man, you can cut as much of me as you want to anyways. I don't care. I feel like I'm a little bit gone tonight had some beers.
Yeah.
I think you made some excellent points.
Yeah, you really did. That's why I'm going, I'll probably leave that in there because like I said, I could make it out. But I'm wanting to comment on it somehow.
Yeah. Well, on the family issue, it's been a rough week with Tom Hughes, guitar player extraordinaire, passing.
Mm.
We got to do a lot of things with Tom. A lot of people that we know and love are friends with him, his family, and Tom's passing was followed 2 days later by the anniversary of Joe Young's passing, which I sort of caught me by surprise because of Tom's situation. It was sort of like a double whammy this week.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about it myself.
And the greater, I guess the greater anti-scene family and Mystery School family took a big blow because Tom was an excellent dude. Yeah. And very passionate about music and very supportive of all the things we have been doing.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, the last sale that I made through Mystery School Records store before it broke briefly was the Van Huskins CD that I sold to Tom.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
So, it's all connected.
Yeah.
his passing took me by surprise. I mean, there was the slightest little bit of foreshadowing a couple weeks before, and like the day that he passed. But other than that, it was totally a surprise, man. It was really hard to process the next day. It took a little while for it to become real to me, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, he really was a joy to work with. It was awesome doing that split with him. Man, it was almost good now looking back. I mean, we had a lot of frustrations during that thing because we were trying to do it as cheap as possible. So that meant this component come from here and this come from there and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And, man, we had some hang-ups along the way, and, you know, we were at the mercy of some real dodo birds at times, you know. And, man, he really did always have some funny way, like, that he pictured those people, like, what they must have been up to or something, you know, instead of getting our stuff done and doing it right. And it always, man, it made it so much easier to get through all that. 'Cause it was pretty stressful, you know, the way we did it. But it was the way we had to do it because we're not making money, you know.
Yeah.
Man, it was, he really was a great guy. And, man, I want to state clear that he was every bit of the smoking guitar player everybody says. Like, he was absolutely fantastic. He was the guy you looked at and you just went, well, I feel like I should just throw my guitar against the wall and break it and never touch it again because I'm never going to be that good.
Yeah.
Like, God, it's like, yeah, oh, man, he plays like I wish I could. Man, I tell you something, when I think about Mystery School Records, I always think about some of the, like, really slogging through hard shit that me and John did to have some records, you know, like, man, there's a lot of times we recorded in a room that was no bigger than, like, a bedroom. Like, man, one time we recorded in what was not even the biggest bedroom in a mobile home.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the hallway.
We've recorded in the same place.
In hallways.
We've done the same thing. That the accidents, the blast off cassette. I've digitized it now. I don't know if you've heard that one, John. That was recorded in a trailer, in the secondary bedroom in a trailer. I think one of us out in the hallway.
It was kind of deluxe in a way, though, because, you know, we had like 2 bedrooms and the hallway set up as a recording studio.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people don't get half of a single wide mobile home to make the record in.
We did the vocals in the bathroom, and then that's why, like, actually, no, that was the first EP that we did. I think we recorded Blast Off in the same place. But anyway, on the first EP we did, the reason at the very end of it, you can hear somebody pissing and then flushing the toilet. That's me. I went in there after we got finished, and that's where we recorded the vocals. It's like, we're putting that on the cassette.
It's good. Keep it in.
Yep. You can't record something like that and then not use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, Matt Jones, man, I don't know if I talked about him on here before, but
no,
he's the guy John was just talking about that was kind of the mastermind behind the music side of Rapegoat.
Yeah.
Man, a long time ago, during the SFTM days, my cousin, who we call Squash or Death Metal Cousin, he told me, he's like, man, there's this guy that loves SFTM, and he likes stuff like y'all like, and he can play like y'all play. And he had a CD, and man, it was like weird sounding because it was like the drums sounded like it was recorded direct from an electronic drum set, and not a good one, you know?
Yeah.
And the guitar sounded like it was direct into the recording thing, and then a distortion effect was added on the recording thing or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it rolled. It absolutely kicked ass, and he was doing the same kind of stuff SFTM was doing just as well. And I was like, shit. But then I didn't hear about him for a long time until John Bridges started jamming with him, I think. I think that's when I started to become more aware of Matt Jones. But, man, he's a big character in the Mystery School thing. It was his house that we did some of the early recordings in.
Yeah.
King Size Killers album was recorded there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was kind of a rash of Mystery School recordings that, like, the deal we worked out with the band was like, you know, John will record you for free and mix it and stuff. Like we'll do the recording or whatever. You do the art and this and that. Sometimes even the band paid for the press, and we just offered something to them to help them get along. Like, you know, like whatever we could offer, they needed the worst to get their album done or something. And then it was a Mystery School label release, and it was considered a, you know, true collaboration, you know, us and them. And you know what I mean? That's what I mean by saying the label's based on relationships. You know, I know some people see it and they perceive it like a business or something like that, but I mean, it's always, if you want to talk money, it's always been far in the negative. That's a labor of love.
As a business, it is a failure. As a artistic endeavor and a way to connect with a lot of really cool people and do a lot of really cool shit, it's been a success.
Oh yeah, a total success.
Yeah. Our books are wide open and they're not good.
Well, it's the music business, right? I mean, you can't run a label these days and make money. You can't be in a band these days and make money.
It's not a business; it's a very expensive hobby.
Yeah, sad. Yeah.
Man, I remember when you did that Advanced Demonology podcast, John, and Sleaze Grinder said that he's like, I had a label once. He said, yeah, it was like the same experience as throwing trash bags of money into the ocean.
I tell you, there's some people out there that do labels that don't play in bands themselves, and like, you know, I wonder, you know, it takes a special kind of person to want to throw their own money and away for other bands.
Well, it's probably mental illness, but there could be other explanations.
Yeah.
We have releases that are sold out, although we also have releases that don't have very many copies of them.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I might have backstock that if I were to throw into the ocean, maybe I can build a small reef. So, you know, shop Mystery School Records.
We do a lot of talking on the podcast about, you know, how things used to be. And so in some ways we have it a lot better, because at least now we can order 50 CDs or 100 CDs and not have to order 1,000 of them.
Yes.
So at least we don't have thousands of Van Huskins, or, you know, 900 Van Huskins CDs to like build a little island out in the middle of the ocean with. Which that's one reason why my old bands never really did. I mean, we did our own CDs. We bought a spindle of them and we burned them and made our own covers, because I wasn't gonna get 1,000 CDs made. I couldn't afford to do that.
No,
we were gonna sell them. So I'm glad that part of it's changed, so you don't have to throw away as much money.
That's definitely true. I think that something is kind of cool about being in the internet age, in the we sort of bemoan some of the like grassroots things that may be missing, or you're not dedicated because you have to find it. Mm-hmm. You know, at the same time, people can hear my band for free, anytime, and that's better for me because it's spread and people get to hear it. When we put out the first few CDs on Mystery School Records, I gave it to people who regularly use SoulSeek, and I was like, please put these please pirate these albums.
Yeah.
Put them out there so people can hear them and maybe they'll get into circulation.
Yeah.
Because selling units is not where it's at in punk rock. People hearing about you and knowing about your band. Damn, is John being killed by the Sasquatch?
I was just wondering. I was like, there's a werewolf out there or something, but
I'm out here pissing. And yeah, dude, it's like this every night, man. There's coyotes and dogs and who knows what.
It's Nobby.
It's Nobby.
Yeah.
Get.
Most likely.
Get from here. That's what you got to tell him. Get from here.
I just stepped outside and took a good old-fashioned piss.
You will watch out for a good old-fashioned Sasquatch. Yeah. Hey, look. If you see Lon Chaney Jr., go in the house and lock the door and get your gun.
Man, I don't sweat it out here, man. There's like I told you, I about pissed on a damn skunk that one night.
This will be the part I put at the end of the podcast, and then Nice Girl Goddamn will start playing.
That's right.
Oh.
I wish I could go a whole podcast or whatever without pissing, but I just can't. I drink beer every time.
Me too. And lately, it's even weird. It's weird enough, like when you're in person doing it. It's like, okay, I have a bathroom break. But when you're like doing it on video chat, and I gotta go take a piss.
Man,
just stand there and stare at that camera.
I'm pissing right now.
That's what I was gonna say. At least one of y'all has an apparatus like under the table hooked up where you can just go.
Not yet, but I thought about it.
Like dumbass coming out.
I thought about it.
I'm actually, you can't tell. I'm actually in a small kiddie pool.
Oh God.
It's just baby oil in my piss.
Yeah. John, I'll be sure to leave all this out of the podcast because
it's warm.
Man, Mike, I told him earlier. I was like, man, don't worry. There's editing. You know, like if we get stupid, and shit.
I'm not afraid.
I just know Bowman hates it whenever the fill-ins start talking about scatological stuff on their podcast. So. We're talking about piss on this one. I'm just going to leave it out.
Well, it's good to have a theme.
Don't die living, fucking tired. Ready to take in a face and you ain't even tried. You would give it, give no limit. She said I'm just too body, so much easier to give. And you both rap, bring me down, you don't even try. Step out what you want, you rather lay down and die. Get fuck out my face, you're wasting my time. You're no friend of mine.
That was one thing that we forgot about on your podcast. We didn't really talk about you and Alice Cooper.
Yeah, man. So I did some work as a guitar tech for Wednesday 13 on one tour. I only did this one time. And we did 10 days with Alice Cooper in October, which was really cool, like right around Halloween time. So, I mean, it was just a perfect thing, you know, perfect acts and perfect tour to be on at the perfect time. And it was it's a tour of the Northeast. Or at least that leg of the tour was, you know, it's part of a larger tour for Alice.
Yeah.
But, so it was like, it's kind of gloomy. I remember like a little bit of gloomy weather and stuff, you know. It was just real fitting, man. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and I got to meet Alice Cooper, and it was really cool and stuff, right? So after this, my buddy CJ and my buddy Chris Davis, who was actually a Rapegoat member for a minute, they continued to be roadies and stuff. They started doing real serious work after I did that tour. Me and John got the opportunity to go to Roanoke and see Alice Cooper. I think it was in 2010.
It was awesome.
It was Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie, which, man, I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan, but his live show was cool.
Rob Zombie's live show was awesome.
I've seen White Zombie before, and they were badass.
Yeah, and man, that guy John Five, I used to see him in guitar magazines a long time ago, and just like go, who cares, you know? I was like, this is a guy in Marilyn Manson, whatever. I was unimpressed with Marilyn Manson as a kid.
Yeah,
I just was like, whatever, whatever. I didn't think it sounded good. It was just based on that, you know. So I didn't take John Five seriously. CJ had been telling me what a good guitar player he was, and I saw him play, and I got to watch it from the side of the stage, and I was just like, the top of my head was blown off. You know, we had a good time, but I was hoping we get to talk to Alice Cooper and meet him, but we didn't. We kind of passed him in the hallway, and he happened to be angry about something that had happened at the close of the show. It was really weird because it was kind of opposite of what I knew of him. But me and John, there's Alice Cooper, madder than hell.
Yeah, he opened the door and stared at us and was just like, we shouldn't have been in the hallway, apparently.
Yeah.
We were the only people in the hallway. He opened the door looking for someone else. He looked right at us.
Yeah, I think he might have been a little weirded out by us because he probably didn't remember me because he probably only paid any attention to me one night on that tour. He hung out, you know, he took us out to dinner and it was awesome. Yeah. I know he'd never seen John in his life, you know, so he's probably wondering why people were hanging out. But we were just guests for that one show. We were CJ and Chris and Wednesday's guests, and man, if I ain't mistaken, CJ and Chris's job at that time was the big monster things that come out on stage for Rob Zombie. Yeah. So that's how we got back here. And man, there was people we knew was there. Man, Alex Stiff was there.
Yeah.
in the audience. Him and his mom and his adopted dad.
Yeah.
And man, his mom texted me so much, like, "Is there any way we can get back here too?" You know, and I just had to be like, "I'm a guest myself. I can't do a damn thing for y'all. I'd love
we
to."
had zero clout, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was a good time. It was just weird. It was a weird night, man. We drove so far and stuff and went there one night and back, and then there's people up there that we know.
Yeah.
Man, I spilled a beer on my ass just now.
Well, at that show, I was watching Alice Cooper from the side of the stage, which was an incredible experience in itself.
Yeah.
And then I sort of like felt someone come up beside me, but it felt like, you know, a looming presence. And I looked to my right, and John 5 is standing right beside me, and he's a very tall person, and he has very big boots.
Yeah.
So he's even taller. And we just like looked at each other, and I smiled and nodded, and he smiled and nodded, and then we just like stood there watching Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I still haven't gotten my Wayne's World moment, even though I've gotten, I say backstage. I've been on the guest list twice at Alice Cooper shows, but always by the guitarist, and so we don't really get to go back and see Alice Cooper because you got to pay good money to do that these days. But man, he puts on such a good show even these days. Alice Cooper's so good.
Hey, y'all don't tell nobody, but I ain't got no clothes on right now.
Well,
because it's.
So you were already not wearing pants.
No, I was actually, I put jeans on tonight because I was like, man, I just want to feel a little bit professional, like I'm going somewhere, like I'm somebody. So I put jeans on.
Oh, then you spilled beer
and
on
I
yourself.
spilled beer on my shirt, my damn pants, and my underwear.
And so now you're just naked talking to us. I feel much more.
April.
I feel better now.
April just come out and said I'm cut off, and I ain't even drunk.
Hey, April.
much.
Hi, April. How big a beer did you have?
It was just a little natty light, man.
Well, how'd you get it all
Just a
over
little
you?
12-ounce. I spilled it right. It hit me in the right in the left haunch and run down my shirt and into my ass. There's a stain right there. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Looks like you
Man,
spilled
you wanna
most
hear
of it.
something funny? You see this couch right here?
Yeah, be careful when
is
you point
like
that camera.
It's good now. But this couch is a rich people couch. The only reason I have it is because I got it for me for $150.
That's right, John Bridges get you that couch, bro.
He'll hook you up. Maybe not now, but
That was my old life.
man, I've had this damn thing since before me and April were together. I've had this thing for like 13 years. I'm still sitting on it and still hearing my ass in. God damn it.
The red flag, constant rebound and running out of options. I got no cancel, money in the bank. I'm trying to keep me fat. It's every day I let it be. Feeling so much drag. I'm broke. I'm broke. I'm broke. I'm broke. I'm broke. I'm broke. I can tell you about some things going on in Wilmington that aren't part of the scene that nobody cares about.
Okay. Go ahead.
There's a cool noise rock scene, not noise rock, but like noise and experimental music scene
Yeah.
in Wilmington.
Okay.
And I've been involved with my friend Ryan doing this really crazy thing called Dip Lip.
Yep. I remember you posting about that.
Yeah, so Dip Lip is smokeless tobacco themed harsh noise.
Okay. I like it.
And Yeah, and so we do this thing together. We performed, I think we've had 3 live shows. There's always sort of a performance art element.
Yeah.
It's always about dip. You can find Dip Lip on Facebook, and you can find Dip Lip on Instagram. There's a lot of videos.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of memes. We haven't recorded an album, although there might be some footage of our live shows. But we do have a single that we released a few years ago on YouTube. The Dip Lip single is a cover of the Robert Earl Keen song, Copenhagen.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah.
Copenhagen, what a flavor.
Yeah.
Copenhagen, you can see it in her smile. Yeah, that's the one. It doesn't sound like that, though. It sounds different.
Yeah.
And I have another thing that I do with my friend Judson that's called John Baptist and King James Jr.'s Rock and Roll Revival.
Yeah.
Which is it's not exactly a religious service. It's a rock and roll observance.
Okay.
I have baptized people in buckets, and I'll christen you with a sprinkling if that's what you need, but I'm willing to dunk you if that's what it takes for rock and roll salvation. It's really fun though, because what happened is we sort of did it. Someone prompted us. Actually, Malcolm Tent, who now plays bass in Anti-Scene, and has a great and storied history with TPOS Records, and is in They Hate Us and plays bass on that album that's about to come out. He prompted me to do something to open for him when I saw him when he was coming to Wilmington the first time. I came up with this thing, and it's like a religious rock and roll ceremony where you explain how rock and roll has affected you in your life. I got people to give testimonies and be baptized, and when you invite people to tell stories of how rock and roll has affected and improved their lives, they get super excited and they just want to do it. Yeah. It's one of the only times where you ask for audience participation and you actually get it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So how often does this happen?
As little as possible.
So does that mean it's happened more than once or just once?
Oh no, we've over the last, like, say maybe 4 years, we've probably done 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
And sometimes, like, I did one that was all about Little Richard. Sometimes they're a little more philosophical and broad. But my esteemed colleague, King James Jr., is a whiz on the organ. Yeah. And so we have a very jump and shout kind of vibe going on. You know, people get into it. It's exciting. It's just like the same way as like a Dip Lip show. You can sometimes get people who would never otherwise use tobacco products to dip because you offer it to them, and they're just so caught up in the moment that they're like, yeah, I think I will have a dip. I'm not really a dipper, by the way, but
well, me either. But I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I could see myself getting caught up in the moment and going, for in the name of rock and roll, or noise rock or whatever.
Yeah, you know, just for the sake of art. Yep. Dipping for art's sake.
It definitely sounds like both of those sounds like something I'd be interested in seeing sometime.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, I don't really have musical talent, so I tend to gravitate towards fringe activities.
So for your fringe activities and for your singing as well, or your bands that you've been in, where do you get inspiration from it anywhere, or is it just something that you do?
I primarily get inspiration from frustrating life circumstances. Yeah. which mostly involve other human beings. I wouldn't say that 100% of my inspiration comes from people that disgust me, but it's a strong percentage.
Yeah. Well, Bowman did say on his episode that you were a little bit of a misanthrope, so. But yeah, you're very much a people person, which is sort of an enigma.
I like humanity at its core.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to help people. Life's really difficult, and it's hard to get by enough without people being shitty to you.
Yeah.
I want to help people, but also life is difficult enough without people being shitty to you. And if you want to be shitty to me, I can definitely show you how that goes.
Yeah.
Or at least write a song about you.
So what is the rock scene like in Wilmington? I know of just a few bands, Street Clones primarily, the Girls, and Good Grief now.
There's a lot of cool bands here. There's some really cool metal bands here.
Yeah.
Children of the Reptile, Beard of Antlers, Mortal Man.
Yeah.
I think if anything, like the Wilmington scene is kind of like a metal scene, almost like a traditional metal scene.
Yeah.
But we've got a few other. There's not a lot of extreme metal bands.
Yeah.
There's not really like a ton of hardcore bands. One thing that's cool about Wilmington is that there are a lot of bands who have been around for a very long time, like Sweet Feed and bands that existed in the 90s and before, who are coming back and doing things now, all tore up. And there's a lot of bands that are bringing people who used to be involved kind of back in and at least coming to some shows. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. We've never played Wilmington. John Richards, he used to play he plays in Queen City Rejects now. But I think he was in the Vivians, and maybe Cemetery Thieves may have started in Wilmington. I'm not sure. He's always talked about trying to get us a show out there, and we just, I'd like to play a show out there sometime. It's just a matter of us being able to play out of town.
You guys come down here, we'll play.
Right.
We'll definitely play a show.
You're talking about Johnny Dick, right?
Yeah.
He's on Mystery School record release, ain't he?
Well, he's on
Biggie Stardust.
Biggie Stardust and his Wretched Hive album. But legend has it, there's a Queen City Rejects album that may be coming out on tape on Mystery School Records.
I've heard that.
I've heard that too, but I don't know. I don't really know. The thing about Mystery School Records is that it is mysterious unto me as well.
I seen somebody say today the more frustrating thing than losing shows is trying to think about booking future shows.
Yeah.
What do? Do you go ahead and try to book and see what's going to happen, or do you not? Like, I mean, are businesses on top of that too, or they just like, well, let's just see how it goes, and maybe do a little open and see if anybody comes in, or I don't know.
So I guess locally we've got to know for sure that the businesses are going to be able to do it first of all. But I see like even like bigger bands announcing tours later this fall, and I'm like, really? You're announcing a tour already? You don't even know if you're going to be able to tour. But I guess at some point you've got to go ahead and start planning for the future, and then
you got to keep booking because otherwise somebody's going to book ahead of you.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've got to go ahead and do it and just hope that it can happen, and then go, well, we got to reschedule again. Yeah. I guess here locally we've got to get to phase 1, and then once we get to phase 1, we can start thinking about phase 2 and phase 3, and I think phase 3 will be when we can start having shows again.
Man, I'm not advocating any type of recklessness, but the first like good opportunity that exists, the bands that are playing that night, it's going to be a good deal for them, as long as nobody gets sick and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they'll be back when like people are ready to rock. You know what I mean?
But then, like the next weekend, it'll probably be the opposite. That everybody will be staying at home. It'll be like all the people that really wanted to get it out of their system got it out of their system that first night. And then they thought more about, man, I don't know if I want to go back out or not. There were too many people there the other night.
Hey, well, also, man, there might be a lot of people that don't have the funds to go out, even when the little floodgates open, if that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Man, I think a lot of toes need to be dipped into a lot of little waters to make sure it's okay to go out. But
yeah, but I'm afraid of that period of time when people are dipping their toes into the waters. I mean, you know, are the places I like to go to, are they going to survive all this? Or are they going to survive that?
yeah, it's worrisome on every level, man. It really is.
I don't like to think about it too much, but you have to think about it.
Well, we want to keep playing and stuff. We want to resume what we were doing. We all had plans before this shit fucked them up, you know.
Well,
I mean, I've been lucky. My band did a release, and it's been a more successful thing that we've done as far as like immediate attention. We can't do any shows right now. We can't reap any benefits of that. You know, maybe if our last couple shows went down, we'd have had better crowds than normal. You know, it might have been, things might have advanced in some way or gotten better for us. But, yeah, everybody had plans totally wiped away.
Yep, and you just try to figure out what to do in the meantime. So we went ahead and released our release, and it's, you know, for what it's worth, I guess it got enough attention. It got some attention, but I'd like to be out there promoting it. I'd like to be out there playing shows.
Yeah, I just hope this kind of resets for people what's important and what ain't, you know. And I think going out and enjoying music is important. I've not been able to do it as much as I would like to. Things are going to change, you know. Everybody goes through these periods where they're more available or not. But I'm going to tell you what, even through all that, I haven't stopped making music. I've been working on so many music projects. It's making my head spin. Just this week, you know.
I need to be working on music projects, but I'm busy doing this, and I'm still working all the time. So somebody got a dog like right outside their door?
Yeah, sorry, that's my dogs.
That's all right. I just wanted to make sure that John wasn't getting hunted by that werewolf that was outside a little while ago. It was sneaking up behind him. Rapegoat was the first Mystery School release, correct?
Correct. Man cannot be saved.
When you first released that, you had no idea you would release 50 releases, or was it like I'm going to do this and make it something?
Oh, I'd say it was an aim, man. We're not the kind of guys that intend to do very little, you know. We want to do a lot.
It was without expectation.
Yeah, it was just like, this is something we can do, and I'm not going to name another label, but there was a label that we're not extremely close with, we're loosely associated with, but I saw some things they were doing, and it gave me the idea that we could be doing a lot of things, that like a lot of doors have been opened by technology. I was just like, man, if you want to, you know, well, it all did start off as a necessity of needing a label name to stick on the first Rapegoat record, so it kind of looked more legit and stuff, you know, and like, why not, man? You know, just have fun with your stuff, be as creative as you can be, you know, make up a label for your release and all, but man, we had this sense that there was an overlooked little music world, you know. And I do like them terms, outsider or weirdo or whatever you want to say, just things that labels might not touch because it's not pretty or it's not profitable. And man, above all, that's the kind of thing, man. I think we realize a lot of stuff gets overlooked because it's not profitable. We knew all these bands, and we just think North Carolina gets shortchanged as a music state, you know, and all this. And we're just like, man, there's all kinds of good music from here. We started doing that, and man, it didn't take any time at all before it wasn't just North Carolina, but it was kind of national and international. We got international pretty fast.
Yeah, international very fast. Our first 7-inch was Greedy Mistress from Italy. She was a kid. She never had the chance to have a piece of meat. Mom and Dad were afraid of the evil around the world. There's a time to walk up as so far from the home.
Yeah, that's right. The first vinyl we ever did. We worked with a friend of mine, Razor Boy. He just wanted some CDs to sell. over here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like his thing, you know. He spent a little money to have a CD here, and we sold it for him. And all he wanted was that if somebody over here wants to buy it, they can buy it, and he's not gonna kill himself with shipping charges, shipping overseas. You know,
it's rare and out of print now.
Yeah, man, we did a similar little deal with Svetlanas, and this is like pretty early in that band. Man, they're a really kind of popular and well loved and well traveled and experienced band at this point. But at the time, they were kind of just some friends of mine I met, you know, and I think I met them through the internet and through Razor Boy before, and then met them in person in Europe.
With Anti-Scene.
Yeah. You know, they're another group that kind of helped make Mystery School international. Man, I'll tell you some things about a couple of releases I'm real proud of on Mystery School. First of all, both of the compilations that we did. They really are perfect companion pieces. And I feel like both of them are of equal quality, like all the way. And just, man, if you just want one disc packed with good music by a lot of different bands, there you go. But the cool thing is the first one, I feel like we worked some of my avenues that I had established through Anti-Scene to get a lot of those bands. And then the second one, man, it really was like John had that damn thing stuck together all of a sudden, to me, at least the way it seemed to me.
All of a sudden, over the course of a year, I finally got it together.
But man, we didn't talk about it a lot or anything. So like by the time I heard what was together, I mean, it was like I was a step or two outside of it as well. So I got to see it from that objective point of view, like a listener, you know, one of our listeners might see it. Man, that's my favorite of the two. I think that one most accurately represents what the label's all about. There is some absolutely excellent shit on there.
Oh, yeah.
Probably my favorite thing on there is Erectile Dysfunction's version of I Don't Care by the Ramones.
Yeah. Yes.
Down-tuned. It's a very faithful cover of the Ramones, I Don't Care, except for it's very down-tuned with like death metal vocals and stuff. And it just, dude, the low end on it, it just like really flexes your speakers. It's an experience to listen to. It's great, man. I love it better. I like it better than Ramones version. It was so over the top, man. I was just like, this is the greatest compilation ever.
It's the grindcore version of the Ramones.
Yeah.
And man, that could take us off on a whole nother tree of stuff, man. Because that's a guy that me and John know named Doug Long, who does record label and puts tons of records out and stuff. Way more successful than us, man. Like,
Backwoods Butcher Records in Hebron, Kentucky. Doug's a great dude. Brody's Militia, Erectile Dysfunction, Erectile Dementia, Teeth Aquarium.
I probably called it Erectile Dysfunction a second
You
ago.
did, but
Erectile Dementia.
what's up, John?
What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
I am released from my prison.
So, John, like I told John before you got on here, last week I just had such a good time. I thought we could do this again this week, but I really don't know that we have anything important to talk about. I probably got enough stuff to work with from last week, but you know, if we come up with anything good this week, I'll throw it in there too. I'll figure out a way to work it in. So.
Hey, so I do have the list of like everything that Mystery School has done. If we would like to go through it, and maybe any of them are interested to make a comment on and mention that could be something. At least be conversation starters, maybe. There's a few releases on the list here that are much a mystery to me because John really did them. And you know, man, most releases I had some kind of hand in some way. It seems like I'd have to really count to see, you know, what the ratio to me having something, at least one thing to do with it to ones that I didn't have anything to do with. Man, some of them are a mystery is what I mean by that, I guess. You know? Some of them are people I know. Maybe that's the only thing I did was I just knew them too. But there's some that are like total mystery releases to me in a lot of ways. At least the story behind getting them going or anything like that.
Yeah. So the first thing was the Rapegoat, Man Cannot Be Saved.
Oh, yeah, that was the first one. And the second one was at that SFTM, Too Weird to Live. Number 3 was a good band called King Size Killers with an album called Funeral for a Town, and that featured Matt Jones, the drummer from Rapegoat.
Yeah.
And Nick Laney, who was playing bass at that time, first bass player.
They were a good band, and man, they were like a real professional band. I recorded that album and mixed it and mastered it. Man, they were really like a no stress group to record, man. Probably the least stress ever. They were the most professional. They planned their recording process out and executed it like really well, like no bullshit. And it was really pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was about 3 years removed from the scene when you guys got started up with Mystery School, so I'm familiar with some of the names because I still kind of kept up with it through Creative Loafing and stuff, but I didn't get out to a whole lot of shows, so a lot of those bands I ended up missing, just like I never saw. You know, I missed a lot of that.
Hey, you remember Hungry Ghost that I let you hear?
Yeah, I used to work when I worked at the Gutter Supply Warehouse. The drummer for that band, he used to come in there all the time, and he had a Misfits tattoo, and it struck up a conversation like almost immediately, and he was like, he knew who the accents were, and I went out. Hungry Ghost was one band I did go out and see during that time.
Hey man, so that's our 4th release is a band that featured Carry On Bomb and future AM/FM's member.
Yeah.
Carry On Bomb, Organ Grinder.
Yeah.
So that was 2 Hungry Ghost members. That was Peanut and Kevin is the drummer you're talking about.
Yeah. I knew he was in Carry On Bomb too.
I just reconnected with him today.
Okay.
I'd been looking for him. I actually called his old place of business to try to find him.
Yeah.
And stuff. And but Organ Grinder, that was Kevin's idea to put this out. It also features Ali from AM/FMs.
Yeah.
It's like it's metal as hell. It's cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we put out 3 punk records, like hardcore, and like sort of American oi rock and roll, and then all of a sudden this like prog metal album just in our lap, and we're like, holy crap, and they're like, hey, like, would you do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Man, that was a pretty good experience. All I did with that was mastered it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, and Kevin actually rejected my first master.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, man, it just ain't quite there, man. You know, and he was real nice about what he did, but I'm glad he did because it resulted in a real good master afterwards. You know, I kind of seen what he meant. It's forever better. Kind of wish we'd bring that one back. I might talk to him about that, man. I just think that might be better appreciated at this point now than when we put it out. All right, man. Self-Made Monsters, One Man Race album is number 5.
And one of the best releases that we've done. That record is so damn good.
Yeah.
Man, we told a story about going to Roanoke to see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie and then get the backstage treatment and everything and stage tour and all that cool shit. That's what we listened to on the way up there and back was that One Man Race.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had it out yet or not, but we had it and was listening to it.
Didn't you do your first or your Alice Cooper tour with Eddie?
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it, but yeah, Eddie was on that. He was the drum tech for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I bet y'all had a blast on that tour.
Man, it was an adventure, but some parts of it really sucked.
Yeah. I can imagine that part of it too. But
John, was the first time that you played with Self-Made Monsters at Lunchbox?
Yeah, that was my first show with him.
So that was the first time I saw Self-Made Monsters, and that was awesome. I heard the CD, but when I saw them live, that blew my freaking mind. That was after meeting John and Jordan and seeing Dead Kings at the Milestone. We pretty much just only went to the Milestone.
Yeah.
And we had been to Lunchbox Records, but we never saw a show there. It just started doing shows, and wow, like that was pretty crazy. Self-Made Monsters.
Yeah,
and
dude,
that
I've
was
got
the first time I
VHS
saw
tape
John
of
play with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I got a VHS tape of it. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I should have thought about how this thing cuts people off.
I usually kind of give it a second to make sure somebody else isn't like still mid thought. All right, who's next?
We might can move on to another. Okay, so number 6.
I mean, unless you had something more to say about that, I just
or about self-made monsters one.
Yeah, I'd have anything.
There's so much to say.
Yeah, man, there might be too much if we're trying to do a little overview of all the records. I mean,
we'll maybe save that for the album series. We'll spotlight specific albums that meant a lot to people.
Man,
yeah.
Seriously, sometime you should try to get Eddie to do this kind of thing.
Well, I definitely want to reach out.
Probably when you can do that in person again.
Yeah,
this technology shit don't fly too much with him.
Well, that's one thing. Like with a lot of people that I don't really know too well, I'd rather do that in person than over this because it's hard enough to overcome the boundaries with this when it's like somebody I know well. But when I don't know somebody, this adds an extra little bit makes it a little bit more challenging, I guess.
Man, if we really had like a self-made monsters talk and oh Lord, man, it would be some pretty like mind-sizzling shit, man. Like it's out of control.
I threw my spoons in the microwave, put it on 5, wrapped myself in a tortoise shell, knowing I would be the only one left alive, knowing I would be the only one left alive. I took the fall.
So, man, our 6th release was this album by Razor Boy, who is an Italian funk rocker that I met.
We went international.
Yeah, this is where we first went international, and this was a Razor Boy's idea, and his idea was like, man, I need CDs available over there so that if anybody wants to buy my CDs in the USA, there's some already there.
Yeah.
We produced them there. He paid for them to be produced over here, and we just held on to them and sold them to anybody. Ordered one over here. Problem is, nobody over here ordered any. And man,
we sold a few, but not very many.
It's a pretty little. It's like a little ass-kicking record, man. I mean, it's got some serious production. I mean, it's just like guitar, bass, and drums that barrel your ass over. Just and it sounds kind of scary because it's got a heavy accent and he's singing in English. And it's pretty hardcore, but it's got like a kind of like a Misfits vibe too and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's kind of dark, and he did a really I don't know the word to attach to it. I don't know if I want to call it daring or what, but like, man, his artwork on the inside is like he decapitated Iggy Pop, man.
He dislikes for some reason.
He does dislike Iggy Pop.
He doesn't like
man.
Iggy Pop, and I don't agree with that.
Nor do I.
Boy, but I think that's hilarious about his situation.
That's what's so good about it. It's like not only does he not like him, it's almost like that was like symbolically placing himself above him. Like I'm like, you think Iggy Pop is like some special character, like he's wild or something. Check me out, motherfucker.
I appreciate that kind of attitude.
I don't know if anybody else appreciated it very much, but man, there's some people that do and have, and he was a musician before this project. I'm not bashing it as a project, man. I think it was awesome, but it didn't do well for us.
Yeah.
But it was a good idea on his part that they were here. If anybody wanted to order, he spent a little bit of money, made an investment, and it would have saved him money if the thing would have sold well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Razor Boy CD should still be available from Mystery School Records.
Sold out.
Oh, sold out?
It actually is sold out now.
It took quite a while, but I got one or two.
Yeah, man, so far, all the releases we talked about are sold out.
Well, that's good.
Gone.
So, Razor Boy also made us seem cool as hell in my mind because we suddenly had a band from Italy's CD on our little, Podunk, North Carolina label.
Oh, yeah. International.
And then we got a 7-inch with Greedy Mistress from Italy, which was the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's a rockin' album. And Italian sexploitation rock and roll. That 7-inch is still available.
Okay.
For real?
Yeah. You can purchase the Greedy Mistress 7-inch from Mystery School Records. Maybe I'll add it back to the website. I think we can get more items now.
All right, you heard it here. I heard it here first.
I guess.
If this makes the cut.
Hey, let me tell you, that album is pretty cool. The thing that I love the most is their cover of the 13th Floor Elevator's roller coaster.
Yeah,
it's
that's
excellent.
good.
It's excellent.
Man, so that CD was the last Mystery School Greedy Mistress thing, but it wasn't the last time I worked with them.
Mm-hmm.
They did a cover of Alice Cooper's "I Love the Dead,"
and
Jeff Clayton sang on it.
Yeah,
and I recorded Jeff's vocals for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. So we talked about 2010 and 2011. So now we're in 2012, and we've got our first LP. We did our first 7-inch. Now it's the first LP, which is Biggie Stardust and His Wretched Hive, Bad Excuse for Bad Manners.
Yeah.
Second album, very good.
Yeah, second Biggie Stardust album, really good. I recorded it and mastered it, and I think it's a joint release with Scatboy.
Yeah,
yeah, our first Scatboy joint release, like all the Tankified albums.
Yeah. So then, Forbidden Fruits of Rock and Roll compilation CD.
Oh hell! Well,
10th release.
We put out 2 compilation CDs over the past 10 years, or 7 years, whatever, and they're both pretty banging, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a very long time, a very long time to put them together. We used a lot of John's connections from Anti-Scene to get the first one together, and then by the time we did the second one, I had connections related to those, and then all sorts of other weird connections.
Yeah.
And there's some super strange things on both of those comps, but especially Comp 2 has some weird stuff. Forbidden Fruits of Rock and Roll 1 and 2. Part 1 is out of print. Part 2 is sometimes in print.
Yeah. I've got a copy of it. That was great. Yeah. It's really good.
That's a good one.
All right, so we got like 40 minutes and about, how many more releases? 50 releases?
Oh.
I mean, like 43 more releases?
Yeah, we're gonna pare it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him where you got on, man. I said, I was having fun. We can't go like that, man. I agree with what John said, man. Dennis Highland and CCCR and Future Hate definitely needs mention, but John will have to tell you more about that.
Well, I think.
Hey, I'll say this while you gathering your thoughts, man. CCCR is one of my favorite Mystery School releases.
Absolutely.
And it's got Jamie Vida on it. He was in Before I Hang, and he's the guitar player on the Chica Negra, which is a really good band that we put out a CD by. And he's a singer. He was in Lookout Mountain Daredevils. He played with Buddy Tom, who passed.
Yeah.
And he's just done a lot of good stuff.
Stove Bolts as well.
Yeah, Stove Bolts.
And if you've never checked out the Stove Bolts, their second album, which is on Blall Records, is absolutely wonderful.
All right.
So yeah, man, CCCR, fantastic album, man. It's I don't know how to describe it, man. I mean, like, I guess in the broader sense of the term, you could call it hardcore. You know, the guitars kind of have a Greg Ginn type feel to it, but a little bit more like tasty and a little more kind of like musically appropriate. You know, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But still, every bit is like badass and cool sounding, and then Jamie's singing and lyrics are hilarious. You know, his singing is great, and his lyrics are funny, but not over the top, like ha 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 ha, joke joke joke. You know, you got to listen to them to figure it out. But it's good, man. It's a damn good record.
Shit on the blues man, white as snow. Making rock and roll stolen from Negro. I won't work for his dirt. Spit day and night to the dope and skirt. I ain't gonna do right. I ain't gonna do right. I ain't gonna do right. Make my money with the devil every night.
And Dennis Howell, the guitar player, is also in a band called Future Hate.
Oh, the CCCR album is it's a short album. It's a little EP that just grinds through from start to finish. It's like a burner of an album. It's one of my favorite releases as well. They had a few tracks they recorded and they put something on I don't know, was it MySpace or no, I guess Facebook, whatever there was a few tracks you could listen to somewhere.
Reverb Nation maybe
Reverb Nation, yeah. And so like there are some place like that. They had a few tracks out there and we listened to them and I was like, "Oh my god, like do you have a record? Like could we put it out, please?" And so that's how that came about, and it's exceptional. We have a few copies of those left, and I strongly recommend them. Sometimes I give them to people just because people need to have it. Yeah. Do you have that, Mike?
No, I don't.
Well, you will soon.
Yeah, hell yeah, you gotta have that, dude. That's over the top.
And so basically the same band, but with Miranda Pixley singing. Is Future Hate.
Okay.
So both of these bands are musically out of Alabama, and Miranda and all of Future Hate live in Alabama and play there, I guess, all around the Southeast. Absolutely awesome band. Our release with Future Hate is a CD called Pot Boiler, international release that we did with Dead Lamb Records from Ireland and Jackhammer Music from Japan. Do you have that, Mike?
No.
Oh, hell. Well, sorry for the oversight. I'm not even sure how to describe the Future Hate album, but it's another one of my absolute favorite releases.
Yeah.
Putting out a record with Dennis was just, once again, like, easy and cool as hell. He just wants... he just wants people to hear his music because he knows it's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, I relate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too.
Unpredictable oaths. High society toast. Let's erase the dead. Spill inside their heads. Let's find a strict thief on restriction. Device with pencil, punching magicians. Let's erase the dead. At the foot of their bed.
Man, I'm trying to look for another favorite of mine.
Van Huskins. No, I'm just kidding.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that one is almost sold out, but it's not quite. I think you've still probably got a few copies, John.
I got a few, but
and I think Eric and Ben have a couple of copies, but I'm out of them. But I may do one small run of those, one more.
I'm for it.
Man, what about old Space Coke? We've been talking about
Space Coke.
We've been talking about Jay Matheson and stuff he's been doing from down there in Columbia.
That dude has done
another one.
I mean, I was aware of him, but until I started doing all this stuff, especially here recently doing the radio show, I didn't realize like how many albums or how many bands he's touched. But I guess doing Jam Room Studios down there in Columbia, he's recorded a whole lot of bands. It just comes with the territory. And a lot of them are really, really good bands too.
Well, see, man, he's part of that SFTM release too. Mm-hmm. He recorded about 6 of those songs.
I knew you had said that he recorded some of that.
That's one of the best recording experiences I ever had. You talking about going in somewhere and somebody's in such good control of the situation, and you've already heard what they can do, and you trust them. You know what I mean? Like. It was to the point where I think we told him straight out, we trust you, man. You know, if you say do it, we'll do it. You know, as far as like gear and, you know, overdub stuff, whatever he wanted to bring to it, you know, we knew it would be good. He was doing our kind of music, you know, and we were real confident we were going to get what we were paying for. And man, to say another nice thing about him, we wasn't paying a whole lot. We probably got way more value than what we put into the project monetarily. I'm talking about it was low. I ain't gonna say what it was, but it was low for what we got back, man. It was really high quality. It was good. It was stress-free recording time.
Yeah.
And at the time we didn't have a bass player. I played almost all the bass, but a song or two. A guy who was kind of our producer at the time played 1 or 2 songs on the bass, and he was a really good bass player. He probably should have played it all. It'd probably been really cool. But it was awesome, man. There was a couple times that Jay he told me something like, "Nah, man, you ain't using that guitar," and it was like something I'd planned out ahead of time. I was kinda like, for a second, I was just kind of like, and I almost want to say something back, and then just thought, like, man, you already heard what this guy does. Like,
Yeah.
just listen to him, and it paid off. Stuff paid off if you listen to him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know him, but I've heard, I know people that know him, and everything I've heard about him has been great. And everything I've ever heard that he's had his hands on has been great. And there's been a lot of really good stuff out there, a lot of very important stuff out there that he's had his hands on.
Yeah, man, he's fantastic, man. We were quirky little couple of silly little guys back then, and he knew how to work with us.
Yeah.
Despite our inexperience in being in a real studio. We'd been in studios because at the time, that's the only way he's going to record anything worth letting anybody hear.
Mm-hmm.
But we hadn't been in any really good ones. That was the first one I went to that, like, counted as a real studio and not somebody's thrown together shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It ain't like today, man. Today you can string together some little shit and get some good results. But you couldn't back then, man. And some of these people would dip a lot of money into equipment and stuff, but you just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So anyways, there was another one. Tangents again.
Yeah, so Space Coke.
Yeah, man. Really fine record.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
And I had absolutely nothing to do with it. So you can trust me.
Well, I figured you probably didn't have your hands on that one.
Yeah, that's another John number right there. So.
Well, I barely had anything to do with it, but I sort of met. I got hooked up with Space Coke through Jules from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Space Coke's, I guess, out of Columbia, and I had heard of them. I'd listened to their EPs, and they were pretty cool. Reno Gooch from Space Coke has definitely got a vision for his band and what he's about, and their sort of 70s psychedelic stoner heavy drug vibe is their trip, and they're tripping very well on that.
Oh yeah. They're good.
And so we played. Street Clones played with them in Charleston, South Carolina, and then we didn't stay in touch really that much. And all of a sudden, he just hit me up and was like, "Hey, I got this record. I want to put out a CD. Let's do it on Mystery School." It just so happened that it coincided with our 42nd release, so I was able to give them catalog MSR 420 to coincide with their drug vibe. And get on that trip. But the record is incredible, and it's a kind of a psychedelic doom statement, I think. But my personal favorite track is Evil, the Stevie Wonder cover at the end, with some fantastic vocals, with a guest vocalist that's just, I don't know, chilling in my opinion, and maybe the best single track that's been on a Mystery School Records release. No disrespect to anybody else.
Yeah, man, I have to say that.
He's talking about you, John. He's talking about you.
Yeah, and I am too. No shit, man. I have the same opinion about that song, and I've only heard it one time. So go ahead and process that. I need to bust that up. I got that CD up on my shelf. If it's successful, I need to listen to it again. But I'm serious. I've heard that song one damn time, and I believe the same thing. I think I might even said it John before he said it, but I've heard him say it before. But I don't know. But that's pretty much the first thought that crossed my mind when I heard it. It's probably the best song we've ever put out there.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Space Code Recorded Beat is kind of, I don't know. I've probably listened to this album 100 times. I'm into it.
Why have you engulfed so many hearts? Why have you destroyed so many minds? Leaving room for dark hands where lost dreams can hide.
So, by the way, Space Coke is now their own Forbidden Place Records, and they got another album that they're working on. Bigger, better, louder, and I think that's absolutely awesome. So everybody check out Space Coke. You can get the Mystery School Records CD from us, You can get it from them, and you can check out what they're going to be doing on Forbidden Planet Records. I'm sorry, Forbidden Place Records.
Actually, I think I was just on their Bandcamp site the other day, and they're sold out of the CD. So you still have it at your website, though.
I have a few.
Yep. Now, I don't know that they don't still have them. They just don't have them listed on Bandcamp anymore. It says sold out. So another Mystery School Records release that might be close to sold out.
They're all close to sold out, even when they're first made, because we don't really make very many.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have to qualify that way. Let's just.
Well, I mean, I don't mind qualifying it that way. You know, if scarcity drives up value, then let me tell you, these things are all quite scarce.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I'm putting it to you this way: it'd be the perfect label for some like collector with a lot of money who really want to just like complete something that's hard to complete, and then like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's hard to complete because, like John's saying, there wasn't a lot in the first damn place.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're out there and they spread really far. That's the thing. There's no concentration. There's no city where this is hot. It's like a weird. It's spread out, man. You know. So it might be like not a lot of numbers, but also gets rid by spreading out like hell.
Yeah, yeah.
You got this person here and that person there, and this, you know, it's you know, we kind of wanted it to be a regional label or like a kind of a North Carolina label or whatever, but it just kind of turned into more of a
weirdo label.
Yeah, just weirdos spread out across the globe type.
Yeah.
We were able to force it on people all over the world.
And these days, you don't have to have a whole lot of physical copies out there for it to reach a whole lot more people than the amount of physical copies that exist.
True.
Yeah, that's kind of a new possibility now as opposed to the old days. Well, no, I mean, I don't know, man. Tape trading before.
Well, what happened back then, but I think it's a little
CD ripping.
Because these days, a lot of people don't even get the tape or the CD in the first place. They just go directly to whatever's online.
That's true.
And not everything that we talk about is available on Spotify, but it's still available out there somewhere in some form. It's been disseminated amongst the masses, not masses, but amongst other people.
Well, that's the other thing about some of our stuff, though. Some of our stuff has been neglected in that digital realm, and some of the stuff does not exist out there. You're not getting it out there. You know what I mean? And it ain't because. I mean, I don't know what it's because. I mean, it's just because a lot of the people we've dealt with don't care about it, or it wasn't as big a thing early on when we were doing this stuff, you know, as it is now, all of a sudden. Just different reasons, man. But some of the stuff really is stuff. If you want it, you got to track it down. I have some people that contact me from time to time. Say, man, I can't find one of this or that, or they say the only one I can get, some asshole wants too much money for it. And I say, man, I'll look and see if I got one, but I doubt it because, man, most of the stuff I got a little stash where I got one or two copies, you know, that I'm going to like pass to my kids one day when they're 50 years old and can handle all the subject matter, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, I get these requests sometimes. You know, this guy in Phoenix that wrote me the other day about 2 records he wanted. One was SFTM, and can't get them. And there's one certain person I'm not going to name that's got some of them, but he likes to charge a lot for shit. I think he does it from the start and waits till stuff's rare. Like he gets a lot of stuff from small labels like us, and then just waits till people can't get it, and like the label can't even afford to repress it, and then he's the one that's got to gouge your ass off.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did we talk about Sex Grimes last time? I feel like we did.
I think we mentioned
talk about the Sex Grimes LP, which I will send you, Mike.
I've got that. John gave it to me.
Oh, cool.
I think that's why I got mentioned.
That's right. Yeah, we talked about it last time.
We mentioned it, but I don't know that we talked about it in detail. I can't remember. I haven't really listened to all what we talked about yet.
Man, I'm favoring all the international stuff. You know, that's what sticks out to me, though. It really is a small world, man, and we human beings, we've made it really small with transportation and communication. You know, doing stuff with band from Australia, that's pretty cool. You know, I had nothing to do with that either, but I'm gonna kind of roll around in the glory of it, you know.
That's a great damn record.
Yeah. It's a great record. Brad Marta from First Blood Family Records really spearheaded that. We did that with Nuclear Ass Records, and Mark Zombo from Rupture, who was in Sex Crimes, his label Sato Solutions, was involved with that. And we previously worked with Nuclear Ass and Sato Solutions on the Street Clones Thrill Killer 7-inch. So, you know, it's good when a few labels that maybe or may not also be bands come together to put out some records together. That might be prohibitive otherwise with the cost of vinyl these days.
I try to be a nice cunt, try not to fucking swear, because I know some people are easily offended, so I try to fucking care. I'm sorry if I upset you, that was not my intent. I'm sure that neither was yours, except I'm offended by you taking offense.
What are Street Clones up to these days? I mean, I don't know that you're up to much of anything.
Up to these days? Well, currently we're really not up to much of anything.
Well, that's like I was saying. I mean, Van Huskins practiced for the first time in a month the other day, which we probably shouldn't have done, but we did it anyway. Fuck it. We put on masks and we practiced.
You know, you do what you got to do. We haven't practiced in a while. We've been practicing our social distancing. I've seen Wes a couple times. He's come over to the house and hung out in the yard, and we've been away from one another. We haven't had band practice. I've seen A-Train, our drummer. He came over actually and picked up the drums. But as far as what we're actually up to, we've got maybe half an album's worth of material, probably 6 songs written that we've been working on.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to bust out some more and come up with a record, you know, sometime eventually. We're always writing songs. We're not real quick about it.
Yeah.
We had a lot of shows booked that are kind of not happening now. We got our August show with Keep On Cowboys here in Wilmington, which might happen. But other than that, we don't. You know, we're not making a lot of big plans. We're gonna wait and see.
Yeah, it's hard for anybody to make plans right now. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, you know, we haven't practiced in a month and a half, and we did the other day. We threw on masks and decided to do it. But I mean,
was it fun?
It was a lot of fun. I was smiling on my drive over there. My smile got bigger the closer I got. I was just so happy to be going over there. But I'm
ready to play with it. I'm ready to practice with the band.
It's not like we can do anything with it though. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
But Wes and I have been talking. We're always plotting and planning. So it's not like the whole thing is on hold. It exists still, but you know, it ain't exactly global domination at this point.
Yeah. God damn it! Coronavirus stopped the Street Clones' path to global domination.
So close. We were only like millions of album sales away from taking over the world.
I completely forget. I don't know where we were before the piss thing started happening.
On the highway to hell.
You're on the highway to hell. Man, that was my grass mowing album. This past grass mow. God, I mowed the fuck out of that grass, and I got a brand new lawnmower, dude. Just nothing stood in my way.
I'll sleep in the day.
This has been a Gabba Gabba Hunt media production.
Hey, did y'all? Where's
Can't hear you, robot boy.
You're gonna have to get settled. You're gonna have to get settled before you start talking to us.
How about now?
That's better. There you go.
Man, did y'all see where I was fucking with fill-ins online?